to just give you a simple example of how important it is for us to pay attention to the details. Recently, there was a proposal at City Hall to spend about $8 million over the next, 7 years or so to provide transit riders with a free transit app. Now, the problem is there's already a lot of free transit apps. I mean, most people are already using Google Apps or Apple apps, right? So the question is, why is the city of Mississauga suddenly deciding to pay a third party $7 million so that people living in Mississauga going on my way can use a free app when there's already other free apps available? Like, that's not the best use of taxpayer dollars. And then when I asked and pushed back and asked staff, what are the benefits? Some of the benefits they said was, well, you can, there were some benefits. Obviously, there were some bells and whistles, no questions about that. But the free apps were good enough, right? What I said was, instead of spending $7 million making it easier to tell people your bus is going to be late, why don't we spend the $7 million on hiring more buses or hiring more bus drivers so that our buses are not late, right? So luckily, all of council agreed, and we were able to, we did not approve that. But this is an example of how does something like this bubble up, right? So that ability to say need to have and nice to have. Did that 7 million, did that transit app have some bells and whistles? Absolutely. But it was already a perfectly good free app. So why are we spending $7 million of taxpayers' money? But so you really have to watch it, because if you don't, you can pass it, and then that's passed on to the taxpayer. And so it's the kind of thing that you really, really have to watch. And it's something that I spend a lot of time on.
So, you bring up, you almost like you have to be, as a councilor, you have to be like your own, the city, like in your own jurisdiction, you're representing Ward 7, and you're speaking on their behalf and watching their dollars, how they're being spent in the city. To some people, probably they think they see Councilor Dipika Damerla or any other councilor in the city, they probably think it's a ceremonial thing that, you show up to meeting, you raise your hand to vote, or you don't. And that's just about it. But from what I'm hearing from this conversation and the previous conversation that I had with you, it's a lot more involved than that. It's almost like you have to be your own financial detective and, try to figure out where things are, which drawer hiding what. It's I don't know. It's not as ceremonial as one would think.
It's not ceremonial at all, Robin. It's a privilege and an absolute honor to be able to do this job, and I love it. But it's a lot of work because here every Wednesday we have council, which means we have a binder yay thick, full of things that are coming to us for approval, and you've got to read the reports, and you sort of need to have perspective, because when you read the report, we'll take this transit app. When you read the report, it makes a case for the transit app, but you have to know that these free transit apps are available. Right? If you didn't know that the free transit apps are available, maybe it looks like a good idea or not. But, so you kind of need to be sort of aware of all of the things that are happening in and around you. It's a lot of reading. And then we have every other week, we have regional council, another binder this thick. Then we have planning, another binder this thick. So these are all committee meetings where we vote. I also sit on governance committee. So that's, again, lots of decisions and reports that we have to follow up on. Heritage committee, racism committee. So yes, it's a lot of work. And then, of course, then there's the phone calls about my tree is sick, or, the fence here, my neighbor's fence is leaning into my fence, and all of those issues as well. So, yes.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's a tough job.